So what is it that you want to talk about, that you feel like talking about?
Thank you for putting me on the spot. How we need to normalize stretching and strengthening.
Yeah.
It needs to be normalized. It's so normalized to like wake up and like grab the phone and wake up and start working for other people.
Girl, it's so normal to wake up 5 minutes before you got to be online, and then people just wake up 5 minutes before they have to be online and they click start from the bed.
That's me. I do that
That's
too.
you?
Like I'm human. I'm human.
You are human. You are human.
I mean, not all the time.
I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you.
Not all the time, obviously, not all the time. But yeah. But there are times when, yeah, definitely, there are times that I do that. It really depends on what my appointment is for. You know, if it's a phone call with a bunch of, you know, like if I'm on a phone call, like with a bunch of people, then I could be in my bed and just, but that's still not okay. It's still not okay. Like we should normalize waking up and doing some kind of self-healing ceremony, doing some kind of movement, taking care of the animals if you have animals, because they always need attention. And then, you know, giving yourself some nutrients, brushing your teeth.
Yeah, like when I wake up in the morning, if I don't go pee first, like the first thing I do is I stretch in bed. I stretch in bed. Like,
yeah, like animals, like our cats.
Exactly. Like rolling over.
And their eyes are closed.
Yeah. Like a dolphin swimming in bed.
No, but the thing is, I think animals have a sense of like, oh, this muscle's been sleeping all night. I'm going to move it. Whereas a human will wake up. A human will wake up and not have that awareness that their hamstring is tight. That's just not the first thing that they're feeling, or they're not in their body. The first thing that they wake up to is what their mind is saying. And the mind is always going to go to, depending on if they have a 9-to-5 job, or even if they have their own business, it's always going to go to that.
Immediately, you know? They're going to start and see. I used to be like that. Like I used to not be able to sleep at night either, because I would wake up in the middle of the night and be stressed about something that I had to do the next day, or like money or something, anything, you know, like whatever. But, you know, I created a practice probably like, well, it's been a while. Like I started meditating in the mornings, like in 2015. But it was just like a short 5-minute meditation, whatever. And it does take discipline to build, because I wouldn't do it every day. And it would just be like 5 minutes, whatever. And I wouldn't be able to like sit there in silence. I had to do like a routine through my meditation. Like I had to first like give thanks, and then give forgiveness, and then visualize what my day was gonna look like. And then 5 minutes, done. But now, like, I can honestly say since 2018, I've been meditating every morning without fail, like when I wake up. Okay, well, I will say like 98% of the time. Because there are times, once in a blue moon, there are times, maybe like once or twice a month, where I need to look at my computer screen, like Instagram or Facebook, to wake up, because it's like caffeine. You know how they say like people, like you shouldn't be looking at that before you go to sleep because the lights keep you up. Sometimes I need that to wake me up in the morning because I'm so tired. Like, but it's very rare that it happens that way. For me, social media is like caffeine, you know, it's like in the morning like that. It's like, because the lights are so bright, and you're finally like, you're seeing all of these things, and it's just like stimulating your brain. That's why they say not to do it before you go to sleep, because it'll keep you up all night, and then you'll be going to sleep with all these things on your mind. So, but I wake up every morning and meditate and stretch. I have
That's
to, like,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't wake up and meditate, and I'm working on normalizing that. But I definitely wake up and have movement a priority. That's like, I just have to. If I don't, my body will tell me that I have to do it at some point of the day.
Yeah,
So yeah, but it's not normal for people. It's
it
not
isn't.
normal for people to feel, well, they don't even feel. I get sometimes I'll ask, my clients, like, so how's your body feel today? And they're like, okay, or I don't know. And I can see that they haven't even like taken the time to actually
Feel to notice themselves
to
that
live,
they're
to live,
that they're
yeah,
like
to live
a
things.
living being.
Yes.
Yeah, people are
Yeah.
just pushed on play, and they're
Uh-huh.
just like going.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's
So
such
we need to talk
that's the
about it more.
importance of morning meditation, because it's like you wake up in the morning, first thing you do is you stretch, you feel your body, you're like, and you're moving the stagnant energy. It's like all the energy that's stagnant in there, and like, and it feels so good. It feels so good to be able to celebrate your body in the morning. You're just like, it feels good.
So why do you think it's normalized to not do those things?
Because we're not being taught. We don't get taught that, and like no one
Right.
teaches our parents that, and our parents don't teach us like, hey, you have to have this morning routine when you first wake up, because they weren't taught
Right.
and they don't
It's like,
know, and it's like now our job to teach them.
mhm. Yeah, or not them, but the future generations, because you can't sometimes teach an old dog new tricks and just have compassion for them for not teaching us because they didn't know,
Right.
meaning our parents. But yeah, so like it's so set up on purpose this way because um, they don't want us to understand the power that we get by just being in our body, the power that we can have by just being in our body. Like there's so much power in that, and we don't see that, and we don't sense it for ourselves. We don't even feel powerful, and so we're in. And when you get a society that is like that, they're easy to control.
And it goes so much deeper than that, because it's like a generational consciousness elevation, because if you think about it, every generation that comes in is coming in with higher levels of consciousness, because as humanity we grow and new generations come in, we're always learning, we're always expanding our knowledge, and we're always growing. But back for our grandparents, the Industrial Revolution, like I'm taking this nutritionist class right now. In the Industrial Revolution, do you know, like they were so poor, like the working class. They had said like America was built like during the Industrial Revolution, and it's something to be really proud of, because they did put like a lot of hard work and pride into building this machinist era and everything that has come out of it. Like it's not, it's not in vain. Of course, we needed that to grow, but man that was his only purpose, was to produce or to like participate in this industrial revolution. So they weren't thinking about themselves. They were a tool. Like you wake up and you do this, you grow these, you go work in this factory and produce this amount
Yeah.
of things, and the people at work would give them like a meal during the day, and that's where the term, like there's a term like sloppy slim pickings, or like there's a term that they used back in the day, but it's basically they fed them enough food, which was like not nutritionist at all. It was just like barley and like some other things, but like they fed them enough food to keep them energized enough so that they could perform and create more on these machines.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as like having a nutritionist diet, like a nutritional diet, like being aware and
No.
conscious of like being able to put things into your body for a specific reason, for growth, for performance, for your body. It was like,
Right.
no, I need to eat this so I can continue working these 10 hours a day. And then so I can take these wages home to my family. And then the family also had like slim pickings. Like it was like, so it's been, it goes so much, the programming is like, has been instilled so deep. Like we were meant to, like the Western civilization anyway, the American civilization, like they were meant to simply like be tools to complete the Industrial Revolution. But then it started changing and we started evolving, and that's, but it's like a lot of and so that's why our parents weren't taught, because their parents weren't taught. And like, you know, it's like,
yeah, it's all, but I feel like it's all on purpose though. It's all set up. It was all set up on purpose that way. I don't know by whom, but it's revealing now, right? What's happening, like, and so each generation that comes in, like you said, they're more conscious, and even the ones before us, so like our parents, I think they were born with the same like understanding, but they just like forgot it when they were born because of what they were born into, right? So
programming.
Yeah, and
it's
so
like you're
now
born. You're Mexican. You live in Mexico. You speak Spanish, and you follow this tradition because you're Mexican, and that's all you're ever gonna know.
It gets even deeper than that, to where your own parents are telling you you're gonna go to school to be a doctor. You know, like, and it's like, no, I don't want to do that. You know, and luckily I was one of those parents. I was one of those kids that had parents that say you're gonna go to school to be a doctor, but I was like, I had a brother that was like, no, if you like to dance, you're going to go to school for dance. And then, you know, and then I was like, well, yeah, that makes more sense. So I follow my passion early on. But there are people that don't. And then that's what the midlife crisis that happens, where they're just like realizing that they're doing something that they don't want to be doing. And then they change everything. And people are like, oh, they're going crazy, when they're really just doing what they want to do, which is like amazing. That's what you should be doing. But yeah, so jumping forward, like I feel like our jobs, our generation is at least to, I don't know about you, but at least mine is to talk about like how we need to normalize being in our body, how we need to normalize stretching and strengthening. It doesn't have to be Pilates. It doesn't have to be just yoga. I mean, there's so many ways to do it, right? Like when I wake up and move, it's not just Pilates and yoga. Sometimes I go training. Sometimes I go walking. Sometimes I go running. It's very rare, but sometimes I go running. But the fact it's just there's movement involved, and I'm focusing on where my weight is and how my weight feels, and is it heavy, is it light, just observing and not having judgment, and being very compassionate of where your body is at that time, because that's how you're going to be able to have like a course correction, by seeing where you are and feeling where you are. And that's going to allow you to see what the next thing is going to be.
But see, if you said that to me and I was just the average Joe that didn't do any movement or stretching, or wasn't aware that I'm just a consciousness living inside this body, and I have the power to control like the outcome of the results of my body and how I feel, I wouldn't know what you're saying right now. Because you know, because like you're saying move to where I become conscious to how I know that I can feel, and then I can change it. Like someone who isn't aware that they can even do that is not even gonna know that, like what you just said. It's like it goes, you got to start so deep, like, so just like first things first, just walk. Just walk.
No, you got it. You're right on point. You're right on point. That's why when I have beginner clients, I'm really glad you brought that up. I don't talk about it. I just get them moving. So if I have like, the way I talk to my advanced clients are definitely different than how I talk to my beginner clients. I just get them moving. I don't even have them focus on their breathing. We're not even there. And they ask me, am I doing it right? How am I supposed to breathe? Am I doing it right? And I'm always like, you're doing it fine. Just, you're doing it the way you can only do it. And I'm not even going to tell you, how you should be doing it. I need to see how you're doing it. So I need to see where you are, so I can help you see where you are. And then we have to go through months of that. Sometimes it's 1 month, depending on the person and how connected they are with their body. It'll be a month or 2 months, but typically it's about 3 months in, I start really talking about about what they should be thinking and what they should be feeling. I talk about that actually all the time, but it's in the third month where they actually start to really when I can see that they're actually applying it to what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, and then then the questions and answers start to come up, and then they start asking different questions, and then it's really like it's an unlearning, it's like a revealing and an unlearning of where they were in order to move into the next whatever progression that they need to for their body. It's gonna be different for each person.
It is.
And so here, there's something I want to bring up. I'm gonna have to pull it up real quick on my computer. It's
yeah, because it's the same like in yoga, like when, you know, I always tell my students, like at the beginning, I just say focus on your breath while you're moving your body, because in Kundalini yoga, it's a lot of breathe to the left, exhale to the right, or breathe to the up, exhale to the down type. So you kind of sync it, but okay. I don't really go into the details as to why, you know, but right. Like, so after like 3 months, I'm like, okay, consciously, you are controlling your breath. You are controlling your body movement. You are the author of this machine. You are the manager of this machine. You're the pilot. Like, you say what goes.
Right.
And people don't get that. But what were you going to say?
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I'm just listening.
I mean, they do get it after a while, though. You have to like teach them the basic steps. Like first is movement. First is movement most than anything, you know. It's like, and then once people get into the habit of like the movement, then they can create conscious movements with conscious breathing, and then they can start to see how you can change your emotions during the day with conscious breathing and conscious movement. For example, if you start to have anxiety or something, or you get angry,
I found this is really good. What you're saying, this is going to lead into what I learned from my teachers. Conscious competence learning matrix. It's a foundation for teaching, learning, and progressing your students. And this is great because you're a teacher, just like me. So there's 4 stages of it. So the first one, and I'm sure you've heard this before, is unconscious incompetence. Ignorant is bliss type of thing, right? Where you like you don't know that you don't know. And then there's the conscious incompetence, where your student gets the aha moment, where they realize that they're doing something wrong and that they may get an aha moment, you know, like it's like, oh, they're consciously incompetent. They're realizing that they're doing something wrong and they're going to correct it. And then there's stage 3, conscious competence, where there's an understanding. And this is where most of our students get to. Definitely consciously competent. It's a level of understanding that requires analytical thought. Yeah. And then the last stage is the stage where it's the most difficult for teachers to get their students into, which is the unconscious competent, where they're integrating it into their life so much where like you normalized it.
And that's at the stage, then you become a teacher.
Yeah, you become a teacher, or you don't. You just don't. You keep it to yourself. But
yeah, yourself. Yeah, true.
But most people do. They become teachers. That's like the next thing, or because it's like, oh my God, like, how doesn't everybody know this? Why isn't people implementing this in their lives? Because it just makes such a huge difference, and that's where we want our students to get to. And that's the challenge. Yeah, I can send it to you right now. It's a whole PDF that's like 7 pages long.
How long have we been on this? Do you know?
No.
Let me see.
I'm gonna send it to you. No.
Let's see. We started this at 1:30. It's already been 20 minutes. Maybe we should cut it because it's getting kind of long.
Okay. You know how to save it to your iCloud?
Yeah, I got it. So I'll save it and I'll send it to you after this.
Okay.
But anyways, I'm Danny.
Oh.
I've been recording the whole time.
Okay.
So I'm Danny and Prit Harjot Kaur, and I teach Kundalini yoga and English and in Spanish. And yeah. And Angie?
I'm Angie. I teach Pilates. I'm a movement facilitator. I have a dance background, and I just love getting people out of their head and into their body.